My parents have decided that I should go to university in the city. I'll be leaving in a few days. Teo's face fell, a mixture of shock and sadness washing over him. The city? But what about us? Kemi sat under the shade of the old mango tree, her heart heavy with mixed emotions. She glanced at the small, well-worn path that led to her family's modest home in the village. The path that she had walked countless times, the same path that led her to her love, Teo. Teo was everything to her, kind, hardworking, and always supportive of her dreams. But today, she had to break the news to him that she was leaving for the city to attend university. The sun was setting, casting a golden hue over the village. Teo approached, his face lighting up when he saw her. Kemi, my love. I've been looking for you all day, he said, his smile broad and infectious. Kemi forced a smile, but her eyes betrayed her sadness. Teo, we need to talk. Teo's smile faltered, and he sat beside her, taking her hands in his. What's wrong, Kemi? She took a deep breath, her voice trembling. My parents have decided that I should go to university in the city. I'll be leaving in a few days. Teo's face fell, a mixture of shock and sadness washing over him. The city? But what about us? Kemi squeezed his hands tightly. I love you, Teo. This doesn't change that. I promise I'll come back during my breaks, and I'll write to you often. After 4 years, I'll return to the village, and we'll get married. Nothing can change how I feel about you. Teo nodded, though his heart ached. I trust you, Kemi. I'll wait for you, no matter how long it takes. I'll work hard to build a future for us. They sat in silence, savoring their last moments together before she left. The promise of letters and visits seemed to ease their hearts, but the uncertainty of the future loomed over them. The day of Kemi's departure arrived too quickly. Her parents were proud, bustling around with excitement as they prepared for her journey. Kemi, however, felt a heavy weight in her chest as she said her goodbyes. Teo, she whispered, hugging him tightly. I'll miss you every day. I'll write to you as soon as I can. I'll be waiting, Kemi, he replied, his voice choked with emotion. Take care of yourself. As the bus pulled away from the village, Kemi watched Teo's figure grow smaller and smaller until he disappeared from view. Tears streamed down her face, but she steeled herself for the journey ahead. She had to succeed, not just for herself, but for the future she and Teo dreamed of. Kemi arrived in the bustling city, her senses overwhelmed by the noise, the crowds, and the towering buildings. It was a stark contrast to the quiet simplicity of her village. Her parents had secured a small apartment for her near the university, and she quickly settled into her new life. The first few months were tough. The coursework was demanding, and the city's fast pace was a constant challenge. But true to her promise, Kemi wrote letters to Teo regularly. She described her new experiences, her struggles, and how much she missed him. Teo's letters were a source of comfort, filled with words of encouragement and love. Kemi, you're so brave, he wrote in one letter. I know it's hard, but you're doing this for our future. I'm so proud of you. As time passed, however, the demands of university increased, and Kemi found it harder to keep up with her correspondence. Her letters to Teo became less frequent, and when she did write, they were often filled with complaints about her studies and the challenges she faced. Teo tried to understand, but the growing distance between them was palpable. In the city, Kemi made new friends. Among them was a charming young man named Deji. He came from a wealthy family, was incredibly handsome, and seemed to take a special interest in Kemi. They often studied together, attended social events, and explored the city. "Kemi, you're amazing," Deji said one evening as they walked along the waterfront. "I've never met anyone like you." Kemi blushed, feeling a flutter of excitement. Deji's attention was flattering, and she found herself drawn to him. Despite her promises to Teo, she couldn't deny the growing attraction she felt for Deji. One night, after a particularly romantic evening, Deji confessed his feelings. "Kemi, I really like you. I want to be with you." Kemi's heart raced. She thought of Teo and the promises she had made, but Deji's presence was intoxicating. Against her better judgment, she agreed to date him. As Kemi's relationship with Deji blossomed, her letters to Teo became almost non-existent. She was consumed by her new life, the excitement of the city, and the allure of Deji's world. Teo, meanwhile, continued to write, pouring his heart into each letter, but he received no replies. Feeling the sting of her silence, Teo decided to make a change. He enrolled in the local village university, determined to improve himself and build a future for them. He worked tirelessly, balancing his studies with his job, all the while hoping to hear from Kemi. One day, Teo sent a letter to Kemi, excited to share his news. "Kemi, I've started university here in the village. It's not the city, but I'm working hard. I miss you so much and can't wait for the day you return." But Kemi never responded. Her life with Deji had taken over, and she had all but forgotten her promises to Teo. Then, one evening, everything changed. After months of dating, Deji invited Kemi to a lavish party. They danced, laughed, and drank, and by the end of the night, Kemi found herself in Deji's bed. The next morning, Kemi woke up alone. Deji was gone, and she felt a pang of regret. She tried to call him, but he didn't answer. Days turned into weeks, and Deji continued to ignore her calls and messages. Eventually, Kemi discovered that he had moved on, leaving her heartbroken and alone. Devastated and ashamed, Kemi couldn't bring herself to write to Teo. She knew she had betrayed him and didn't know how to face him. She buried herself in her studies, trying to forget the pain. 3 years later, Teo's life had taken a new turn. He met a kind and intelligent woman named Busy at the village university. They grew close, sharing their dreams and supporting each other. Teo still thought of Kemi, but he had come to terms with the fact that she was no longer a part of his life. Busy and Teo's relationship flourished, and they eventually got married. Teo's hard work paid off, and he secured a good job in Lagos, where they moved to start their new life. In Lagos, Teo and Busy settled into their new life. They found a cozy apartment, and Teo's job provided them with financial stability. Busy also found work, and together, they built a happy and fulfilling life. One sunny afternoon, Teo and Busy decided to do some shopping at a local supermarket. As they walked through the aisles, Teo suddenly stopped, his eyes widening in surprise. "Kemi," he said, his voice tinged with disbelief. Kemi turned, her heart skipping a beat when she saw Teo. He looked different, more mature, confident, and handsome. Her heart ached with memories and regret. "Teo. It's been so long," she said, forcing a smile. "Yes, it has," Teo replied, glancing at Busy, who stood beside him. "This is my wife, Busy." Kemi's smile faltered, and she felt a pang of sadness. "It's nice to meet you, Busy," she said politely. Busy smiled warmly. "Nice to meet you too, Kemi." They made small talk, catching up on the years that had passed. Kemi learned about Teyo's success, his marriage, and his new life in Lagos. She shared that she had finished university but struggled to find a stable job. "I'm so happy for you, Teyo," Kemi said, her voice trembling. "You've done so well." "Thank you, Kemi," Teyo replied. "I'm sorry we lost touch. I tried to reach out, but..." Kemi looked down, tears welling up in her eyes. "I'm sorry, Teyo. I was foolish and made mistakes. I hope you can forgive me." Teyo placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. "I've moved on, Kemi. I hope you find happiness too." Kemi nodded, wiping her tears. "Thank you, Teyo. I wish you and Busy all the best." As they parted ways, Kemi felt a deep sense of loss and regret. She had let go of something precious, and now it was too late. Kemi walked home slowly, her mind replaying the encounter with Teyo. Seeing him happy and successful stirred a mix of emotions: regret, sadness, and a longing for what might have been. She knew she couldn't change the past, but the weight of her decisions bore heavily on her heart. Back in her small apartment, Kemi sat by the window, staring out at the bustling city below. She had finished university but had yet to find a job that matched her qualifications. The city, which once seemed full of promise, now felt overwhelming and unforgiving. Days turned into weeks, and Kemi continued her job search, determined to rebuild her life. She volunteered at local organizations, attended workshops, and networked with professionals in her field. Slowly but surely, opportunities began to arise. One evening, Kemi received a call from a company she had interviewed with weeks earlier. "Miss Kemi, we are pleased to offer you a position with our team. We believe your skills and experience will be a valuable asset to our company." Tears of relief and joy streamed down Kemi's face. "Thank you so much. I am honored and excited to join your team." With a new job and a renewed sense of purpose, Kemi focused on her future. She worked hard, proving herself to be a dedicated and capable employee. Her colleagues appreciated her positive attitude and determination, and she quickly earned their respect. Meanwhile, Teyo and Busy thrived in Lagos. Their love for each other grew stronger each day, and they supported each other through life's challenges. Teyo's career continued to flourish, and Busy found fulfillment in her work as well. One evening, as Teyo and Busy relaxed at home, Teyo received a message from an old friend. It was Kemi. "Teyo, I just wanted to thank you. Seeing you the other day made me realize how important it is to move forward and not dwell on the past. I found a good job and am working hard to build a better future for myself. I am happy for you and Busy and wish you all the best." Teyo smiled as he read the message, feeling a sense of closure. "Kemi is doing well," he said to Busy. "I am glad she's found her path." Busy smiled, squeezing Teyo's hand. "That's wonderful to hear. Everyone deserves a chance to find happiness." As time went on, Kemi continued to grow in her career. She made new friends, explored new hobbies, and embraced the opportunities that came her way. The memories of her past remained, but they no longer held her back. One day, while walking through a park, Kemi met a kind and gentle man named David. They struck up a conversation, and over time, their friendship blossomed into something more. David's patience and understanding helped Kemi heal from her past, and for the first time in years, she felt hopeful about the future. As they walked hand in hand through the park, Kemi realized that life had given her a second chance. She had learned from her mistakes and grown stronger. Though she had lost Teyo, she had found herself and discovered the resilience to move forward. Kemi looked at David, her heart filled with gratitude and hope. "Thank you for being here with me," she said, smiling. David squeezed her hand. "I'm here for you, Kemi. Always." And with that, Kemi knew that she had finally found her way back to happiness. The past was behind her, and the future was full of endless possibilities.